Welcome to Louder Nerdy on a Tuesday night. My name is JW Colwell. What was that?
Welcome to Fright Night.
Well, welcome to Fright Night for real. Anyway, welcome to Loud Nerdy on a Tuesday night. My name is JW Colwell. I'm joined by my co-host on this wonderfully loud and nerdy show, Kyle Defina. How you doing, Kyle?
Good. How are you tonight?
And I'm pretty good. And Jerry Kamora of the band Slapjaw and of TikTok videos that are just off the charts. How are you doing tonight, Jerry?
I'm doing well.
I forgot I don't have to do comments for the show. Okay, good. Excellent. Cool, I can just sit back. What's going on today? What can we talk about? This is an interesting.
Let's apologize for last Tuesday because we were really set to go.
Yeah, we were set to go, and then it acted wonky, and then it was acting wonky again, and then it just kind of like yeah, we're sorry about that, but
it's not our fault.
We're not tech bros. We're not people that know about, well, except Jerry. Evening, boys. Evening, Raven. Thank you very much. But yeah, we're sorry about last week. And for anybody who was excited about the show and then didn't get to watch the show, we are sorry. Jerry did have a thing going on as well, but then it wasn't just Jerry. It was a combination of that plus the StreamYard thing. And then
it was a perfect storm.
It was a perfect storm of suckage. So welcome tonight.
After we called it off, I found out my water heater was leaking all over the basement.
Merry Christmas! That happened to me right before Christmas years ago too.
So it's a good thing. Then it's a good thing. Like everything happens for a reason.
500 bucks down the drain right before Christmas.
We were super happy about Robert Bass's show. He had the equally charismatic Troy Hill, who is the new shiny toy of the Indie Escape Network. Troy Hill Talks premieres in January. We're super excited to have him. Super knowledgeable about movies.
That is like a super cool.
He is very cool. He sounds like Candyman.
It doesn't look like every other poster for this network, though. He stands out.
Well, yeah. Well, why? Because he's wearing a Bulls
Good evening, Ken.
Hope you're in a good spot, Ken. Good to see you.
The background is purple, and it's like just there. Like all the rest of them are like backgrounds.
He's a little bit younger than us, but he's also very knowledgeable. And my favorite thing, Jerry. So you missed Robert's show. I know you were doing band practice. I'm going to tell you right now, the greatest thing ever happened to Robert on this show. It was amazing. Because he midway through asked Troy, you like movies. What movie are you looking forward to next year? And Troy said Superman from James Gunn.
It was perfect.
It was amazing. It was incredible.
Not even scripted.
Nope. Couldn't have scripted it better though. It was a good thing, and we're super happy to have Robert. We're super happy to have Troy.
We're glad Ken's doing okay now.
Yeah, Ken has had a rough 24 hours. I'm glad you're doing okay. Please take care of yourself, and if you don't have to watch the show if you're not feeling it, buddy. We know you're loyal. We know you're here every week.
We're with you regardless.
Yeah, we're with you no matter what.
Don't hundreds of miles away.
Yeah, don't kill yourself over us.
Canada, eh?
Let's talk. Let's talk about a couple things we've talked about in the past. So, do you guys remember like all the things when we're say June, and everybody was sky is falling, theaters are dying, and I kept on saying we just need product.
JW said Transformers 1 is going to be horrible.
I did say that, and then. It was way better than I gave it credit. I love that movie. Great movie. I did say it was going to be horrible because it was coming. It was I don't know. It was weird. But everybody was also saying in the movie press and like Variety and all these different places, theaters are dead. There's no way. we're down 29% from 2 years ago before the pandemic. And I said, we just need product. We just need movies. We need good movies. And then Inside Out 2 hit, and it was 21%. And then Deadpool and Wolverine hit, it was 19%. And then Beetlejuice hit, it was like 11%. And now, after the sorting through everything that's happened the last 2 weeks at the box office, we are now at 5 to 6% off of 2 years ago, which is extraordinarily because of the amount of things that weren't in the pipeline. So, just need product. And 2025 is looking better and better and better. And there's all these movies that are coming out that are super interesting, have great people attached to them, and it just feels like 2025 is like going to be a very big kind of year. The one that's making news today, because they released the trailer, and I don't know if either one of you got to see it yet, but there's a 28 years later trailer. And apparently these movies, like, it's 28 years later, and then there's two other movies that are already made. So there's a trilogy coming out, again, directed by Danny Boyle, written by Alex Garland. No, you're not the only one looking forward to Nosferatu. I think a lot of people are looking forward to Nosferatu. Nosferatu is a weird thing because it's opening on Christmas. So you have to actively make plans as a horror fan to go, I'm going to say fuck Christmas.
Christmas
and go to see a super dark horror film. But they made a big announcement about 28 years later, and the trailer hit, and it's just fucking batshit. It's batshit insane. There's all kinds of people in it. There may or may not be Cillian Murphy in it. Jim from the original. Like, it's just all over, and like the trailer's nuts. And it's just, I just think it might be one of those movies that hits big, because I think that is an underrated franchise, right? 28 Days Later and 28 Weeks Later are both pretty good movies. Like, 28 Days Later especially, but 28 Weeks Later isn't bad either. You know what I mean? Like, it has that one sequence where the person with the rage gets dropped into the room and it's all dark, and it just starts infecting people left and right. So I think it's a good franchise, and all of a sudden there's real. I'm with Ken. Let's go, Craven. There's no chance Craven's going to do well. Craven's going to bomb. I think he'll do great against the Wicked Sing Along. I don't know that Craven in its opening weekend is going to make as much as Wicked makes in its fourth weekend. Craven, the tracking on Craven is just brutal. Like, brutal and not good. And it just, I don't know. It's the curse. I know sometimes, Kyle, you defend the Sony Spider-Verse movies. What are your thoughts on Craven?
I've seen nothing about it. I've seen no advertisements, nothing
Oh, really?
online. There's so I
To put it in perspective, it opens Thursday. It opens Thursday against the War of the Rohirrim, the Lord of the Rings anime movie. The targeting 13 to 15 million from 1,300 theaters this weekend. It's under Madam Web's debut. It costs 110 million to make, and it's R, so it can't get any of the kiddos going for whatever.
I a young Tom Savini should have been Craven the Hunter. He has the look for it.
Oh, you were talking about Nosferatu. Okay. But I thought you said something with Ken. Didn't you say something with Ken? I'm with Ken. Let's
They
go
were talking
Craven.
about Craven coming up first before Nosferatu. They
Oh
kind of
yeah,
thought he
no.
was
I think
jumping the gun
Nosferatu is
there.
going to. I think Nosferatu is going to do fine. Craven is not going to. Craven's not going anywhere. Box office the last couple weeks pretty standard. We've been having it's a 1-2 punch with Gladiator kind of coming in a third. Moana had like 52 million this past weekend. Wicked at 38. Like Wicked in its third week is starting to inch up on Moana. And there's nothing really opening until the 20th. And I'm going to lay it out for you right now on this show. Disney is in for a rude awakening on December 20th. It's going to be a weird weekend for Disney. Because Disney usually throws its weight around. They get all the big screens. They get all the main theaters. And they're going to get them. But I think Sonic might beat it. Because there's an excitement about Sonic that is very core based. Totally right about Tara Thompson. Yeah, Savini would have been a great Craven. I would, I don't know. Craven, like I'm not excited about Craven. I'm going to see it. I'm going to see War of the Rohirrim. I did see this movie that had this super cool plot, and then it just kind of Frank Grillo and werewolves. It was the movie where they have pretty decent werewolf design, pretty cool, right? And it has Frank Grillo, and it has Lou Diamond Phillips, and it has werewolves that all have personality. And
he ain't a young gun anymore.
No, he's not. And that's so. A really quick review of this movie. Fun. I like werewolf movies. I'm a huge I like American Werewolf in London. I love American Werewolf in London. Love The Howling. Love Silver Bullet. Love Dog Soldiers. I love werewolf movies when they're done. And this one had a lot of potential. They do have a lot of personality with the werewolves. Like I said, look at like the design of the werewolf, super cool. And each werewolf kind of has their own personality. Like see how he's the stripe on him, and he's wearing armor. Like so, basically
Great.
the plot
There's a
goes,
live action altered beast.
well, he's a patriot. So the plot goes like this. It's sort of
That's a good one.
Ginger
too.
Snaps. Ginger Snaps is a great movie. But yeah, there are a lot of good werewolf movies out there. Like, and every once in a while, one hits and they're really good. I don't know what's going to happen with Wolfman in February.
Wolfman's got nards.
Wolfman's got nards. Great design for a werewolf, by the way. Amazing design. Not the best design I think ever, though, aside from American Werewolf in London, which is like the werebear. So it was my personal family yet because I was sick over the weekend. I'm just starting to pull myself together. Other people sick of the movie. I mean, I was supposed to stay at home this weekend, but yeah, I don't. You're not gonna have to wait long for Werewolves to be. It made under $1 million this weekend at 3,000 theaters.
It'll be on a streaming service in 2 weeks.
It's going to be on streaming very soon. But the plot goes something like this. It's Purge-ish. So basically, a year before the movie takes place, a supermoon has mutated every human on the planet because it got too close to our atmosphere. And people who were impacted by the moon were turned into wolves. And so the film follows the year after, and basically a bunch of scientists, speaking of Frank Grillo, Rick Flag Sr., JW, did you expect titties episode 2 Creature Commandos? No, I did not expect as much nudity for a show that's launching the DCU, but it is. Peacemaker was R-rated. Creature Commandos is going to be R-rated too.
Let's get an NC-17 in there.
I thought Creature Commandos and Skeleton Crew both hit their marks this week of what they need to be. We'll talk about them in a second. Werewolves, though, like a super cool plot. We're gonna have all these scientists and military people trying to figure out a way to do it, and they come up with an idea of putting on a moon screen. And it just gets dumber and dumber and dumber. Moon screen. Yeah, that's the level that we're dealing with in this movie. But like I said, good werewolf effects. it just gets bogged down in its dumbness. Like it becomes like a purge thing where everybody's locking themselves in their house. And if in reality a bunch of people turned into werewolves, the government would put everybody underground. Do you know what I mean? Like, because they just couldn't take the chance. Gunn is coming in strong. Well, this is going to be the year where we talk about James Gunn and what he learned from the MCU.
Is he gunning for the MCU?
I don't think he's. I don't think he's gunning. I just think he's trying to make. I think he's. Superman is the chance to make $1 billion, and a DC movie hasn't made $1 billion. So that's where we're at. That's what he's gunning for. But Werewolves wasn't great, and it was dumb, but it was good effects. Like I'll give you an example of something stupid that I just looked at and went. So Grillo plays a preeminent macrobiologist that is also a commando. Just go with me on that one. That's not the dumb part. He's basically working on the Moonscreen team. He has his brother died in the first event, so his niece and his brother's wife are his only two surviving family. And he boards them up in their own house. And then he leaves to go to the containment facility. And my question at that point is, if he's the world's leading macrobiologist, and he only has, it's not like he has a bunch of family. Yeah, it's not good. I mean, it's fun, but it's like, Jerry, have you ever watched a horror film where you just start, like, the things start piling up where you're just like, that's dumb.
Almost every single one of them.
Well, sure. Absolutely.
But it's
every single one of them made after 98. I don't know.
Or you're already talking the plot before it even happens.
Well, no.
Or it's directed by Rob Zombie.
Anything directed by Rob Zombie is bad.
Those are full of plot holes.
Just bad. Full of, like, I understand Michael Myers. Do you? Moonscreen is the part, laugh out loud. No, but it's the thing where, like, what started bugging me, right? He's packing them into their house. He's boarding up the house. He's got pepper spray on the outside of the house or all around the house. He's got bear traps, to keep the werewolves out. And I'm thinking to myself, this is the world's leading macrobiologist, and he only has 2 family members. We can't get them into the military facility. We can't put them behind a lot, like.
But did any of them fall in a tub full of water for no reason in the middle of an apartment?
Yeah.
No.
Okay, no. So we're still one step ahead of a certain remake.
But there is a flamethrower laying there. There is a character moment where somebody goes, somebody goes, I need to test the theory, and then they run out in the middle of a pack, and it's just like, I don't know that this is it's right before a conversation where somebody's like, hey, we need to stay alive. And, because you're another specialist. And she's like, okay. She's like, I need to test the theory. And then she runs out in the middle of a pack of werewolves. And you're like, not.
I thought it was like saying Candyman.
Screw you guys. I'm going.
Well, it's just one of those things where it's like, is it the best time? Like, what kind of scientist are you? Is the best time? It's like those people, like, I put up the things all the time about people who are like, hey, I found a microbe in Siberia, and it was 23,000 years old, and it's dead.
Let's thaw it out.
And I put it in the lab, and it started splitting. You're like, what the fuck are you doing? Like, why are you doing that? Like, stop.
So did you watch any new Christmas movies for the Christmas challenge we talked about?
I rewatched Santa Claus the movie for Generation Movie last night.
Okay. Is that it? That's the only one?
I'm not into. I've been catching up on other things.
But you got 2 small kids in the house.
Yeah, but they're not, like, the 2 small kids are not into, like, we tried to watch Rudolph. We tried to watch Rudolph on its 65th anniversary. We got told no for Roblox. So I'm just, The Christmas stuff isn't
Letters
really
to Santa is awesome with Jack Black.
Oh, the Dear Santa movie or whatever it is.
Yeah.
Haven't gotten there. I will get there in a couple of weeks. Like I'll do my. I was thinking about what my 5 or 6 are. I'll do Christmas Vacation.
Of course.
I'll do Elf. I'll do Die Hard. I'll do
Ooh.
Batman Returns. I'll do Gremlins because we're doing that next week on Generation Movie. This movie here.
Silent Night, Deadly Night. You better get that in too.
Black Christmas.
Black Christmas is good.
The original Black Christmas.
Yes.
Not the weird two Black Christmases.
The original, I agree.
The two weird Black Christmases that came out, that like one came out and it was PG-13, it was weird, and then the second one came out and it was even more bonkers off the wall. I'm not feeling it right now yet, but like I said, Elf, Christmas Story, like Christmas Story.
You bring up Elf, and that's pretty interesting considering a couple of weeks ago we put up that little picture of which movie to vote off. And it seems like Elf got the landslide of the votes for being the Christmas movie.
I didn't understand that, and I'll be honest with you.
I voted for Elf to be gone too.
Did you really?
Yeah. Compared to the others,
I think that I don't like Home Alone.
So it was Home Alone, Elf, Christmas Vacation, and A Christmas Story.
I think
Home Alone had to go.
Home Alone. I liked Home Alone better than Elf. I mean,
oh my God! I saw
like now it's dated, but back in the day, I mean,
I think Home Alone. I think Home Alone is one of those movies that we saw when we were younger, and we thought it was great, and I haven't watched Home Alone in probably.
John Candy's in it. That's good enough for me.
He's only in it for 2 seconds.
I know.
Not in it enough.
He calls out Stanton. John.
He does.
About Home
I remember
Alone.
being in Viewmont Theater the night.
Everybody cheering.
Woo, Scranton! We're a shithole. Yay!
We were mentioned. Yes.
We were mentioned.
I've watched a weird fan theory though about Home Alone that Kevin's father was actually in the mafia, and that's why he was didn't really want to talk when Marv was impersonating the police. He didn't want to talk to him, and that's why they had a stack of cash in that house. And that's why Kevin was taught to not go to the police when he was having a problem, but to deal with himself because you don't trust the police.
Home Alone is one of those things where you make it up because the regular movie isn't that great.
I have the Home Alone board game here.
Do you really?
I do.
I just don't. I don't know. I don't know. I like Looney Tunes cartoons. I don't like Home Alone as much as I like Looney Tunes cartoons. Spirited is a pretty good movie. I like that. That was well done. I think there have been a lot of Christmas releases this year. We were talking about last time we were talking about Santa Claus the movie. That movie is horrible. Like the first 35 minutes, great. Then once it hits a certain point, Tony Todd has a werewolf movie coming out, Werewolf Game. Interesting. I was we're in a werewolf world right now. Christmas Vacation has to go. No.
Shitter's full.
I don't know, Margot. No way that's going.
Better watch out. Is that the one with the kids? I have a friend who's producing and hosting a reality show that's picked up by a big streamer looking for contestants during the Viking stuff, Clan North stuff, survival stuff. Check out. Okay. So there it is. If you want to do that, super cool.
What about that? What's that movie? The
we
Snowman
do Viking
movie?
Weekend. Jack Frost.
Yeah, that was.
But then there's a Jack Frost.
The horror Jack Frost. Yeah.
There's a horror Jack Frost.
Yeah.
And then there's a sequel to the Jack Frost movie where he's killing people at a tropical island.
The Michael Keaton one wasn't bad though.
It's one of those weird I was watching Santa Claus the movie and I had totally forgotten that in the first 10 minutes of the movie. So the first 10 minutes take place in a Norse kind of country, and Santa, Mr. Claus and Mrs. Claus are delivering toys on a winter night, and they completely freeze to death. And I was sitting there watching it going, okay, the reindeer die, they die, then the elves come out of the ice and say, hey, we're gonna bring you back to life and reanimate you, and you're gonna be eternal.
Jeffrey Combs comes out with a needle.
I was like, what the fuck? And I was like, isn't this a little dark? And then as the movie, like first half hour, 45 minutes, not bad. Then Lithgow and Dudley Moore show up, and Dudley Moore is horribly cast, and Lithgow is trying really hard to be like a scary, mean, bad guy. And then there's these two kids, and I've never hated kids in a Christmas movie more than these two children. I was watching it just going, I can't stand these two kids. These two kids.
You're watching it on a Zenith?
Joe and Cordelia, and I was like, oh my God, that's amazing. Oh my God, I just realized that's my grandparents. That's just weird. Okay, forget it. That's a weird thing. But yeah, I mean, I want to get into the Christmas thing, but we have family coming down on the 22nd, so then everything's kind of gonna spark up a little bit. We're doing, the elves have come from the North Pole, but Kevin's a killer. Okay. I think everybody dreams that Kevin would grow up to be a homicidal maniac. You taste that much blood from like swinging a paint can, and maybe you go a little dark. How about
I don't know. He branded a guy with a door handle. Really?
What do you
That's
call
what I'm saying. You start to taste blood. How about the weirdest story of the night that we talked about on Generation Movie last night? So Jeremy Allen White, who's on The Bear and is fantastic, was also on Shameless. He's working on a Bruce Springsteen biopic right now, and he just signed on for his first franchise role. He will be voicing the role of Jabba the Hutt's son, Rada the Hutt, for The Mandalorian Grogu. It's the weirdest story.
How does that work with Jabba? That's fan fiction.
I've never really thought about it, Kyle. I mean, he does spin his tail ominously at Princess Leia a lot, and we don't know what's under the pillow that Salacious Crumb is sitting on. We don't know what's under the pillow, to be fair. But also he's a slug, so wouldn't he just split?
Is he
asexual?
I don't know. I don't know. I don't know. I know that he has a brother and a sister. I know that in the Clone Wars animated movie that came out, they had children. And Jeremy Allen White has never been in a franchise before. He's a super good young actor. He was also in the movie about the Von Erichs. Right? He's a solid young actor.
Claw.
Yeah. So I don't. It's just the weirdest story of the day. And then the other story, like I'm sure we'll talk about for a moment, but Chris Evans is apparently coming back in some way or form for Doomsday and for Secret Wars, which
till he's 90.
Yeah, but it could be an alternate version of him. Also, maybe he's not coming back as Steve Rogers. Like I was talking about that last night. Natasha made up a very good point about you're depriving other actors the chance of coming in and making a big splash. My take on it, though, are we honestly discussing Jabba's sexual identity? Yeah, I mean he has a kid, so I would assume he just splits, but I'm not. Kyle's the one that wants pictures. Is this a surprise that Chris Evans is coming back? I think it's a little bit of a surprise. I think it also, I think it's a surprise in the sense that they took a little bit of umbrage with Robert Downey Jr. coming back. Everybody's a little bit pissy for about a week, and then my take on that is, I was thinking about it really last night. They've had 2 shots at Doctor Doom. Both shots have flamed out. You have to have somebody that's...
Oh, that's a bad Fantastic Four joke.
Work. You got it. That's all that matters. You're one of the nerds. But I just think it's one of those things that they've both not done well, and you need this character to land. This character is important. Doctor Doom is an important character that hasn't landed on film yet. And so they went the well. The well is people that know how to do what the fuck they're doing in these movies. So I'm not. I have no problem with it. I have no problem with Chris Evans coming back, even if he doesn't play Captain America. Like I have no problem with any of it. You know, it's a $500 million movie. Where like they're going to spend $500 million on Doomsday and Secret Wars. They can't take chances that somebody's going to come in and be like, "Oh well, you know, I've never done a major role like this." Can't take a chance. I was telling Rich and I told Natasha last night. I think it's going to play into the movie. That aren't exact copies. Sure, I think it's going to play into the movie because I think everybody's going to be confused as why Tony is alive. Is my guess. That Doom looks like maybe he looks like Tony for a reason. Would be my guess, but I don't know. I don't know what they're cooking up. The Star Wars thing is the weirdest thing because Rod of the Hutt, any of the little Hutties, the little Hutt people, the little Hutt children, they're in the animated movie. They're in the little Hutties.
Little Hutties.
Little Hutties.
You better trademark that shit and sell it to Disney right now. You got baby Yodas going up against little Hutties.
Little Hutties.
You'll have the monopoly on those. And the McDonald's toys now.
I love Jabba. I've always loved Jabba. I think Jabba's a great villain. I was thinking, what if they're
making
me
baby Wookiees?
I was thinking, what if they do Rod of the Hutt? What if he's like a Sopranos, like little Hutties? Laugh out loud. But that's a weird story of the day. That was another one that kind of like, what the fuck? The 28 years later thing hitting pretty hard. The trailer and the pictures and everything. Super cool about that. You know, and then the end of the year coming up quickly, right? We're speeding towards the end of the year. We can talk Golden Globe nominations, although, you know, the last co-host I had never wanted to talk any kind of award nominations. But it's an impressive, you know, it's a pretty good year. Nobody's going to fight about it. Everybody's kind of super happy about the Golden Globe noms.
For animation, it'll be a Disney film and a DreamWorks film. Disney will win.
I don't know that that's the case. Not gonna lie to you. Like, I think that might not be the case. Actually, I think The Wild Robot is the odds-on favorite to win. If you're asking me right now if I had to pick best animated movie, The Wild Robot has a shot. It has a much. Like, I think everybody thinks Inside Out's going to win, but I don't think it's going to. If that makes any sense. But movies, let's, you know, quickly get into it. Quick.
I was thinking Moana 2 would be the one.
No, Moana 2 I wouldn't put Moana 2 up against Inside Out.
I think they would want to just to see if they can get The Rock at the ceremonies just for the viewership. Just for the name value.
Golden Globes doesn't worry about that. Like, and I don't think
they have it, but things are changing.
So Best Picture Drama, The Brutalist, which hasn't come out yet. Complete Unknown, which is the Timothée Chalamet, Bob Dylan movie. It looks pretty great. He's doing his own singing. Conclave, the movie about the Pope. Dune Part 2, which was, you know, one of the big hits of the year. Nickel Boys, and September 5th, which is the movie about the crisis at the Olympic Games with the Israeli athletes being killed on live television. Best Motion Picture Musical or Comedy, Anora, which is the Little Engine the Good movie about the prostitute that marries a Russian gangster. Challengers, the tennis movie, Emilia Perez, which is on Netflix, which is also a musical. A Real Pain, which is the comedy with Culkin and what's his face? I can't think of his name. The Substance got a nomination, which doesn't happen for horror films. I got thought about last night that it was a dark comedy. I'm like, it's a fucking horror film. And then Wicked got nominated. Speaking of Best Animated, Flow, Inside Out 2, Memoir of a Snail, Moana 2, Wallace and Gromit, Vengeance Most Foul, and The Wild Robot. So there you go. And then they also added a category this year for cinematic and box office achievement. So let's see, there are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 nominees. Let's you and Kyle, Jerry, give me one of the nominees for the best box office achievement of the year.
What is box office achievement? How does that get defined?
It's cinematic and box office achievement. So movies that people like is essentially where they're going with it.
Movies that people like.
So Wicked would be in there.
Wicked is on that list. Yes. That's one.
Inside Out 2.
Inside Out 2 is on that list.
Deadpool.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Deadpool is on the list. Got 3 of 8. Let's see what else you can get. Come on.
8. Well,
you got 3 out of 8. You're doing great.
And then it went silent.
I don't know about Beetlejuice, though.
Yeah, no, that would be on there.
Beetlejuice is on there.
Okay.
4 out of 8. You guys are doing great. Big hits. Think big movies that did very well. Actually, Kyle, think of a movie that you thought was going to do well that I didn't think was going to do well.
Transformers 1 is on there?
No, it's not. Transformers 1 didn't do anything. That's one thing that we can't, that it bombed. But think about a movie that I didn't think was going to do well that ended up doing very well. That you were on board first with. I will give it to you. Come on, summer movie. Come on.
I don't even remember the summer.
It was a movie that it is a movie that actually it's a movie that's very close to me right now.
I don't remember a movie being made about the Raiders. Twisters?
Twisters is on the list.
Yes, that was one. He's right.
5. Twisters is on the list. 5. What else you got?
Twisters. That was this year?
What else opened on Thanksgiving?
Last week.
Yes, what else opened last week?
Thanksgiving was not last week.
Well, 2 weeks ago, whatever it is. 3 weeks. I don't even know.
There was Moana. There
too?
was Wicked. No, Moana is not on the list. There was Moana, there was Wicked, and there was
Gladiator?
Gladiator 2. There you go.
I don't like movies about gladiators. Let's see.
Ever seen a grown man naked? Anyway, 2 more. You got 2 left.
We got Spider-Man. We got The Crow by Mr. Ridgely there.
That's
Fall Guy?
No, definitely not Fall Guy. These are movies that
The
did
new
well.
Venom movie?
These are movies. No, not Venom. Okay, last two. I'm super happy about. Alien Romulus.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
Yeah, I would have never guessed that.
And The Wild Robot. So I Alien Romulus. I'm going to tell you right now. I've watched it twice since it's been on Hulu.
It wasn't bad.
It's a good movie. It's solid, and there's more connective tissue than I realized. I didn't. No. That movie is the anti-cinematic achievement.
Get rid of the R at the end of that.
They're taking.
going to clean up in the Razzies.
That movie is going to clean up the Razzies. They should take all prints of that movie and just drop it in the ocean.
Just get rid of the R at the end.
You think they still make movies on print? You're cute.
I don't care. Take all the.
They should take all those hard drives and drop them in the.
Yeah, just drop them in the fucking drink. No, Alien Romulus.
Take a magnet to them.
Jerry, Alien Romulus, I think, is the 3rd best Alien movie ever made. Like,
yeah, it was pretty good. I mean, what's his name? Andy, right?
Jerry, yeah, I love Andy. I love Andy.
I want to hear the first two.
Really good.
I want to hear the first 2 now.
What first 2?
Well, the first best one.
Aliens is 1 and Alien is 2. Or if you want to go the other way.
I didn't know. Well, you said alien movies, so I wasn't sure if you were just going off of all of the sci-fi alien genre.
I'm specifically talking about the Alien franchise
to everybody.
Okay, but we're talking about Alien Romulus.
All right, if we're talking alien movies, I vote for The Hidden, too. That was a good movie.
I like The Hidden.
And Alien Nation.
If I'm talking alien movies, the number one, the greatest sci-fi horror film of all time is The Thing. So, but I'm not. I'm talking about Alien, the franchise, because we've had a lot. We've had, Alien, Aliens, Alien 3, Boo, Alien Resurrection, which is okay but not great, and then, you have Alien vs. Predator Requiem, and then you have Covenant, you have Alien Covenant, you have Prometheus, and you have this.
I want to see Men in Black versus Alien.
It wouldn't go well for the Men in Black.
No, but Will Smith could slap the shit out of one of them.
Yeah, and then his hand.
They talk about his wife, right?
Yeah, then he slaps one of them, and then the acid burns his hand off, and then he also gets propecia. Is how that goes. I still want my money back for the Joker. Yeah, the Joker Folie à Deux is widely regarded as the worst movie. It's just a movie that's not great.
Does it surpass?
Yeah, I mean, we haven't talked about Alien Romulus. I will say one thing. I did rewatch, and there is a major Easter egg that if you're not paying attention, is from
Christmas
the second.
time. We can't talk about Easter.
Yeah, we can. We're a nerd show. Yes, we can.
We can't mix genres like that.
Yes, we can. Alien Romulus. Shut up.
It's just the rabbit foot.
Alien
Hang the
Romulus.
Rabbit foot from the tree, Jerry.
I didn't see this early, but now that I've seen it, I can't unseen it. Ripley's ship is in the dock.
Is that a moose knuckle?
Ripley's ship, which means that Weyland Yutani is so evil that they picked up the alien from the Nostromo, brought it back to the ship, picked up her ship, brought it back to the ship.
I didn't notice that.
Yeah, it's there when the pregnant girl escapes. It's one of the ships that's in the background. And so that means that Ripley didn't have to drift through hyperspace for 57 years. Which makes Weyland Yutani the biggest bunch of scumbags in the history of sci-fi. They're just awful.
Planes, Trains, and Automobiles car in Deadpool.
That's exactly right. It's an amazing catch. But it's there. You go when the girls when the kid gets killed, it's right after when the kid gets killed, playing with the giant vagina.
Right.
This is the only way to describe it. The alien vagina he's just playing with and has an idea.
Got a signal for that, Jerry?
Let's talk about the 1974 Cinderella movie. How about it?
But yeah,
that was on Cinemax years ago.
Yeah, it just Cinemax
midnight.
Okay, two things, Raven. I don't know, but realize that this particular piece of the franchise is now taking place in between Alien and Aliens, which is a major, that's a major departure, but it's also, it sets it up, the Alien vajayjay. Yeah, that's exactly right. It also sets it up to be something unique, because think about it, the Romulus station crashes. If Ripley's ship is in that station, her ship gets pushed out into space. You know what I mean? So it sets up for Aliens. But I also think, Andy and the girl are in possession of the most toxic substance in the universe at the end of that movie. And you can't tell me Weyland Yutani isn't going to go crazy. What is up with Facebook telling me we have community guidelines? We do have community guidelines. What is it? Did you get yelled at about the post about
JJ?
The JJ?
The JJ.
What?
Wow.
What?
We say some of the worst shit in the world, and the JJ gets caught. But yeah,
you got Zuckerberg. It's almost like getting whammed, but all year long.
As if that guy even knows what it is.
Where did JW go?
Maybe he just got
white dot on the screen.
He got clipped for saying it.
Oh, he's
what
back.
just happened?
But we still got the white. I don't know, but we just got a white dot for you.
There's no camera for you. There you are.
There he is.
And I'm back. I think somebody pulled the plug on my computer.
JJ 3 times. Zuckerberg kills you.
Yeah, you save the JJ 3 times. It's
That's
Snatch
an old
better.
school one.
Snatch is a great movie. I don't think that's what he's talking about.
It's a great word. The first time I saw the cover of that movie at Blockbuster, I'm like, really? This is in the PG section?
Somebody at a
I
party
usually got to sneak into the room with a curtain with that one.
Somebody in college used to call her vagina the hatchet wound, which I was like, that's aggressive. That's
vertical
aggressive. It's aggressive. Okay. We're 46 minutes in. Kyle has been here for the entire time. He's been participating. You got to go, buddy. Unless you want to talk about stuff.
Go?
We don't have to go.
We're going to
talk about. Oh, by the way, I don't know if ever did. I think we talked about this, but 7, the ticket sales are now actually. I know, but they're on sale now. So if you go in January 3rd, 7 is on sale in IMAX.
Ooh.
What is that? Is that like
they're putting it back out again, huh?
They're putting it out remastered 4K and remastered for IMAX. So I don't know how long it's going to be out, but it's celebrating an anniversary, and it's pretty great. Like, I don't know.
It wasn't a bad movie.
I think it's a pretty great movie. I think it's it's what is the order of the serial killer movies of the 90s? Is it Silence of the Lambs? Silence of the Lambs is 1. But 7 has got to be on the list.
Yeah, and then there. What was that? What else was there? Kiss the Girls. That was one, right?
Copycat.
Yeah.
The Cell. If you're.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like there was a bunch of good serial killer movies in the 90s.
Yeah. They had their run of those.
They had the sheer volume. You know what else they didn't have in the 90s? Well, they still have.
That was good too, Ken.
What was that?
Frailty. That was good.
Frailty is a great movie. Frailty, Frailty is the only movie that Bill Paxton ever directed. The only movie ever directed, and he's got performances in that movie from really talented people that are all really good. And if you've never seen it, I highly recommend Frailty. Be prepared; it's gonna blow your fucking it just. That has one of the great endings. My friend and I argue over the 7 ending. He doesn't feel it's a proper ending. Other things that are hot right now, shows wise, Creature Commandos, of course, got off to a very good start, right? The DCU began, and then there are rumors that we're going to get the big 3. Also, I think the interesting thing about Creature Commandos that we haven't really discussed is that they're officially, part of the DCU is the Suicide Squad movie that James Gunn made and Peacemaker are part of his DCU, right? It's an interesting thing because they definitely talk about Rick Flag's son getting killed, battling Starro, and that is what happened in the Suicide Squad movie. So that's
That was in the Twilight Zone that you told me to leave for? I should have watched that one.
No, that wasn't in a Twilight Zone. Shut up.
Well, you said that's what we were doing now.
We were talking about other things really quick before you left, before you leave. We were talking about this. This is a pretty good show. Max Original. First 2 episodes premiered.
It's got cartoon boobies.
There were cartoon boobies. There were lots of cartoon boobies, actually. And Cersei, the first time Cersei's been on in the DCU, she's a Wonder Woman villain, and she was brutal. She was absolutely brutal, and put a beat down on the bride and the nice fish aquatic woman that basically was helping her. So Skeleton Crew also premiered. A new episode premieres tonight. So the moment we get done with the show, that is where I will be headed. And I'm gonna tell you, there's been a lot of talk about it, like that it's Goonies ish. I don't think it's Goonies. I think it's more Space Camp. And I don't know what's going to happen with the characters, but it is definitely very much a pirate based show because there lots of talk of pirates in space. It is one of the few times when we've had a character from the cantina that's never been on film as a race that's never been a main character. The wolf person, I don't know what race it is, but this show looks pretty fun. It's been Little Elephant Kid and the other, like, they basically are on a planet that nobody understands, like nobody knows about. It's hidden. So and then they find a ship, and then it's more Space Camp. But I really liked it. It's got a good energy to it, and Jude Law, can't really go wrong with Jude Law. But uh, Jerry, it is time. What is the movie this week from your basement, Jerry? Talk to me.
This week's movie is Charles Bronson, The Evil That Men Do.
The Evil That Men Do. Most criminals answer to the law. The world's most savage executioner must answer to Bronson. This is a traditional Charles Bronson film from the '80s, right? He's like later in his career, he's making a lot of Death Wish ish movies. Basically, he plays a former assassin, comes out of retirement, who to avenge the death of a journalist friend at the hands of the Doctor,
Yep.
Who is like a torturer that works for dictatorships worldwide. And so it's got this. It's a nasty movie. Like, it's directed by J. Lee Thompson. It is super nasty. Like, it's not. I don't know how I feel about the lineup change on Creature Commandos. Yeah, I mean, we're gonna have to give Gunn a shot at what he's doing. But this is not a pleasant movie, Jerry. Like, it's a good action movie because like, even Bronson's worst Death Wish movies are fun. You know what I mean? But it's not pleasant. And this one is like him going after people that are in cartels, and it's Chile and Asia, and he goes all around yeah. And it's
and the end of the movie is awesome because the very people the Doctor kidnaps and tortures are the very people that get their revenge at the end of this movie.
Yeah, but it's not like, I wouldn't say it's for the faint of heart. You know what I mean? It only cost $4.6 million to make. It almost tripled its budget. So at the box office. So, like, that's one thing you can't talk about enough. In the '80s, does movie Who Looks Like Bronson? Yes. I think that's Tom. Are you talking about the movie Bronson? That's Thomas Hardy. Are you talking about
there is another guy that is like a Bronson lookalike. Death Kiss is the name of the movie. I think that
Death Kiss.
About. I think that's the name of the movie. He's a Charles Bronson lookalike, and he plays roles like Bronson. He has the mustache and everything. If that's the guy he's talking about.
Robert Bronzy?
Yes, that's him. Just look at his picture.
Let's take a look at his picture. Actually, okay. Okay.
He's like an imitator.
Okay. Hold on.
He doesn't have the same voice, though.
Well, Bronson was amazing. Like,
yeah, he's not Charles Bronson by any measure, but
okay, let's do a side by side quick. It's taken on a weird sheen. This is the picture of Robert Bronzy in Death Kiss. I'm gonna have to find this movie because I like Bronson movies.
It's okay.
That's not the best.
Yeah, it's not.
That's not the best. Like,
he is not Bronson at all.
That is Robert Bronzy. Good guy. Oh, okay. Joe might know him. That's cool. Maybe we can have him on the show. So that's what he looks like with a gun, and then this is what Charles Bronson. But I don't think, like, Bronson is one of those great actors You know what I mean? Like, think about all the movies he was in, Magnificent Seven, Dirty Dozen. Just that's interesting.
How about I got a bonus for you?
Dad, what's the bonus?
It's not streaming anywhere, but I figured I would show this to you because you'd
Is
appreciate it.
is Tubi on? Is it on Tubi? Is Evil Men Do on
Evil That
Tubi?
Men Do is on Tubi, yes. But
The Deliberate Stranger.
with Mark
Mark
Harmon,
Harmon is Ted Bundy.
2 tapes.
That wasn't that a mini series?
It was a mini series on TV, and I found this years ago.
Deliberate Stranger. Mark Harmon is Ted Bundy.
Ted Bundy, yep.
Kyle, are you sleeping as Frankenstein, or are you just kind of okay? That's interesting. I think Kyle might be taking.
No, these comments are just randomly coming up all on their own because I'm doing jack shit and sleeping.
Nice. Okay, cool. I was just checking.
That's cool.
Twilight Zone Redux time. Okay, so we are Evil Dead Men Do is a lot of fun, but I would also recommend some of the like Death Wish 2, Death Wish 3, Death Wish 4, all fun. Tonight's episode is an episode titled The Man in the Bottle. Episode 38 of The Twilight Zone aired originally October 7th, 1960. It is season 2, episode 2. It is directed by Don Medford and written by Rod Serling. The opening narration, Mr. and Mrs. Arthur Castle. Hold on, I want to get a picture of them. This is not them, but this is sort of where the show starts. Mr. and Mrs. Arthur Castle, gentle and infinitely patient people whose lives have been a hope chest with a rusty lock and a lost set of keys. But in just a moment, that hope chest will be opened, and an improbable phantom will try to bedeck the drabness of these two people's failure-laden lives with the gold and precious stones of fulfillment. Mr. and Mrs. Arthur Castle standing on the outskirts and about to enter the Twilight Zone. So this is Arthur Castle. He runs a pawn shop, like an antique store. This lady comes in, and Arthur is going over the bills, and it's not a great time. And she comes in, and she's poor, and she basically gives him a wine bottle she found in the garbage, and he gives her $1. And then he gets yelled at by his wife. And I thought we were going to take a dark turn with the wife being evil, right? Being super evil.
Right.
But she's legit, like, just going, we don't have the money to support other people. We can't even support ourselves. And he's like, but she could be starving. I can't. And then he says something really interesting. He's like, what if I just want to look at somebody else that's worse off than me and be a little bit happy?
Yeah.
Right? So it's this weird dark thing. So she has the bottle. It's just a wine bottle. She eventually admits, the old lady admits that, hey, it's not really a family heirloom. It's just a bottle I found. Great. The bottle falls on the ground, at which point the cap comes off and all kinds of smoke comes out. The name of the episode is The Man in the Bottle. This is the Man in the Bottle, and he's terrifying.
He's creepy.
He's creepy as fuck. And his name is Joseph Ruskin. And he tells Mr. and Mrs. Castle that he is a genie. He does say to them, he gives them 4 wishes. And so basically he gives them 4 wishes. And, they don't believe it at first. And there's a broken cabinet in the store. And so Mr. Castle says, well, I wish for that cabinet to be fixed. The glass miraculously is okay. They then get the idea like, oh, this is a big deal. We can do so much. So they start the first response. And the genie is he's never calming, right, Jerry? He's not an evil genie, but he's also not one that, like,
he's matter of fact.
He's matter of fact, and he basically says every time you make a wish, you have a consequence. Yep. And they should think of that carefully before making
Just
their
know
next
you
wish.
have to deal with what comes with that wish.
Right. And then he said, yes. And then he says, a wish has a consequence, and you must deal with the wish. And the only way maybe to deal with the wish might be using another wish. So they have the thing, like, should we wish for more wishes? He's like, no, that's not how it works.
You do that.
I have 4 wishes, then I go back into the bottle for 1,000 years and a day. 4 wishes, then I go back into the bottle for 1,000 years and a day. 4 wishes, then I go back into the bottle for 1,000 years and a day. 4 wishes, then I go back into the bottle for 1,000 years and a day. 4 wishes, then I go back into the bottle for 1,000 years and a day. 4 wishes, then I go back into the bottle for 1,000 years and a day. 4 wishes, then I go back into the bottle for 1,000 years and a day. 4 wishes, then I go back into the bottle for 1,000 years and a day. 4 wishes, then I go back into the bottle for 1,000 years and a day. 4 wishes, then I go back into the bottle for 1,000 years and a day. 4 wishes, then I go back into the bottle for 1,000 years and a day. 4 wishes, then I go back into the bottle for 1,000 years and a day. 4 wishes, then I go back into the b Cool. It eventually goes to money. They wish for $1 million. And it's glorious. It's super cool. The money falls and rains down in the place. They're super happy. It's $1 million. By the way, it's the weirdest thing because they wish for $1 million, Jerry, in 5s and 10s.
Yeah.
Why would you do that? I want $1 million in my bank account. I don't need it. Like, I don't know. It's a weird wish, but all the money's there. But then, what's really great about
I'm going to put this into perspective. This isn't that long after. Well, it's about less than 40 years after the Great Depression, so that people didn't trust banks, and 5 and 10s were pretty much a common denomination back
great
then.
Point.
Where
Thank you for bringing something to the
20s,
Twilight Zone
50s, and 100s weren't something that people readily saw or accepted and thought was monopoly money.
I just think it's great up until the point where the money starts raining down from the ceiling in this place, and there's just cash everywhere. And like I was thinking, like you could lose some money there. Like I was pragmatically going through the wishes,
and then they start giving it away.
Yes, that is one of the things. It gives Jin vibes, then genie vibes. Yes, he's not evil though. He's not a Jin. He's not evil. He's matter of fact, and he basically says everything comes with a consequence. So they wish for $1 million. They give away a ton of it. Like they're super nice for Twilight Zone people. They're very generous to all the people in their neighborhood. They give money. People go away to go away. They give the old lady who was begging for $1. They give her a ton of money, so she doesn't have to worry about. They give somebody money to buy a house. They give the priest money to fix the church. It's a warming moment, and then the consequence comes, and the consequence is that man right there in that chair, and he is from the IRS.
Tax man coming to take it away.
And I just want to say, Jerry, when they did the taxes for the $1 million, and you realize what the tax brackets were 60 years ago, did you shit your pants?
Yeah.
Okay, so $1 million, the guy starts making like things in his notepad, and he starts writing things down, and he's like, yeah, $1 million, the taxes you owe the U.S. government and state is $942,000.
It's all of it.
A Republican somewhere died tonight because we watched this episode today, Jerry. And so they're like, we already gave away like 60,000. So they go through the big pile of money, and all they have left is $10. Is it 5? I thought it was 2 5s.
Yeah.
I thought it was 2 5s. $10, and the rest is going to the government. So that they've already wished for the window. They've already wished for the money. So then Mr. Castle gets the bright idea. I'm going to wish for power. And the genie's sitting on the stairs, and the genie is ever so matter-of-factly. And he says to Mr. Castle, you just need to do these things more carefully. Also, this is exactly how it goes. Every single time I've done it.
Yeah.
Right? And it's matter-of-factly.
He's almost telling him, like, don't do it anymore, but if you want to, whatever.
No, he's telling him consequences and be careful. So Mr. Castle goes, I'm going to wish for power. I want to be the leader of a contemporary country in this century. Somebody that can't be voted out of office. His wife is like
in a foreign country.
In a foreign country. I wish to be a leader in a foreign power, a foreign country, something contemporary in this century, and I don't want to ever be out of power. No other things. And Jerry, it is the greatest reveal.
Yeah,
the next scene is him sitting next to, in a bunker, as one of his generals brings him a vial of poison that the Fuhrer has asked for. And this Jewish man, he's a Jewish actor. He starts going, "I'm Hitler. I'm Adolf Hitler," and like and he goes. Finally, he just goes, "I want everything to go back the way it was before we open the bottle." Great. It shifts. He's no longer in Nazi Germany. He looks at his wife, and his wife, they're thankful it's over. They sweep up the broken glass from the a shattered bottle. They walk it out as they're walking it out to the trash. He's like, well, at least we got the glass in the case fixed.
Yeah.
And he almost drops it, and then he puts the broom through the glass in the case.
Yep.
And
so
then he
really
sweeps
went back
up
to the way it was.
everything went back to the way it was before they opened the bottle. Takes the bottle out, pours it into the trash. The bottle reconvenes via really cool 1960 special effects, and it has the smoke inside. And we get this. Also, I do want to point out one thing that's really interesting about this season's Twilight Zones, and even the previews of the Twilight Zones for season 2, if you're watching with us. The original portion of the show, Serling, when he's reading the narration, isn't off camera. He is in the scene with the actors behind him. And when he does the preview for the next episode, which is an episode called Nervous Man in a $4 Room.
He's like above it.
He's above it looking down, and it's cool as fuck. Super cool. So as he reads this narration, a word to the wise. Now, to the garbage collectors of the world, to the curio seekers, to the antique buffs, to everyone who would try to coax out a miracle from unlikely places, check that bottle you're taking back for a 2-cent deposit. The genie you save might be your own. Case in point, Mr. and Mrs. Arthur Castle, fresh from the briefest of trips into the Twilight Zone. This is a great episode. It's based on two things. It's based on a 1991 short story, The Bottle Imp by Robert Louis Stevenson, and the 1901 short story, The Monkey's Paw by W.W. Jacobs. Basically the same kind of power. And anything you've seen with regards to a genie in a movie or anything, this is probably the genie character, aside from Aladdin, right, which is everybody, the genie knows Aladdin. I would say this is probably the coolest genie, just the way he's dressed.
You know what he reminds me of? The more when I looked at it again, when you put the picture up, he reminds me of the preacher in Poltergeist 2, just younger.
Yes, he has that look, but he's dressed to the nines.
Let me in.
Let me in. But it's a really cool episode, and it's really well written. Because the genie never once wants them to fail at their wishes. He keeps on talking about careful and consequences. And it's just a great episode. Next week's episode, folks, last one before our Christmas break, Nervous Man in a $4 Room. Boom. Episode 3 already, season 2. We're flying, Jerry. Flying. Okay. We're an hour in, kids. How's everybody feeling?
Next week also.
Oh, yeah, we have a guest. We have a guest
next week.
Nice. Who is the guest, Kyle?
Lawrence Milano. He hosts and runs Monodocs on YouTube. He does a lot of paranormal investigations and sites all over Northeast America here, not just Pennsylvania, but...
Nice.
Jerry's freezing up. Jerry's frozen. He got zuckered.
He's back. He was ghosted. So super cool. We have a big guest next week to close out our year 2024. Jerry, where can people find your Slapjaw stuff? Where can people find you on TikTok? Are you frozen? Cheers.
TikTok.
No, there he's back. TikTok.
No, he's not.
He's a fucking pod person. Like it pod, very
Facebook.
pod.
You know.
Lost him.
Facebook.
Losing Jerry. Kyle, what's a pop you got this week? What's your pop of the week?
Well, you guys said Michael Keaton earlier, and it reminded me I did pick this one up. It's Batman with Michael Keaton's head on it there from the Flash movie. Yeah,
not a good movie, but it was nice seeing him.
Yes,
I would like another.
Batman parts were good in it.
All
the different Batmans were good in it.
As we progress through December, I do want to say we want to wish everybody a happy holidays from the Indie Escape Network. We want everybody to celebrate happy, fun, amazing holidays.
Maybe 2 guests next
We
week.
might get Troy next week, so we'll see if we can get Troy to come in. But this is what we're talking about. This is a big show that's starting on the Indie Escape Network. Troy Hill talks, super knowledgeable about movies, super knowledgeable about pop culture. My kind of cat. Said Superman.
Bright, shiny background, not the dull ones that everyone else gets. This is a real big deal to the network.
We have red.
We have
red.
It doesn't pop like that, though.
Do you want a different color? Do you want a different color?
Red rum.
You want a different? Is that what you want? A color? You just want a color change? Is that all you want? I'm kidding. You can find me find me JW Movie Guy on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, Blue Sky, Threads, and IMDb, of course. We will be back next week for our last episode of the year, and then also coming up on
colors up for the new year.
What was that?
New year, new set. Like change the colors up, maybe.
Maybe,
like it's a new
maybe I got some time. I can do some production work. Next week on Generation Movie, our last Christmas movie, Gremlins, 1984, 40 years of Gizmo and Mogwai, and the most worst Christmas story ever. I was told I wasn't allowed to change your logo colors.
Yeah, you're not. We are. Nerf herders are worth. Okay.
Maybe we'll have a color change. I don't know. We'll have to see. Thank you for joining us
Joe,
tonight.
you got away with your list of things we weren't allowed to say last week.
I don't know. Joe's getting a bunch of shiny new toys. He might not need us anymore in the new year. No, I'm just kidding.
I know.
I'm super excited.
I'm so excited. What we do. I love that one. I'm
super excited.
I'm super excited.
I'm super excited because I want all the shows kind of coordinating, working together, and everybody kind of helping each other out. And I think with a couple of some new blood, Robert's been a blast on our show. Going on Robert's show was a blast. We had a good time. I mean, when Robert shows up, it's amazing. When he shows up. But thank you for joining us tonight. We'll see everybody next week. And again, congrats to Troy Hill. We're looking forward to working with you. Have a great week. Go see a movie. Go watch Skeleton Crew, Creature Commandos, maybe Craven. I don't know. Bang, bang.